kind of like that crazy uncle that says, I got a helicopter, I got all these other things. I started to go, wait, who is this guy?
What exactly do I do for Black Rifle? I live outside the box.
Vibes are high, energy's high. I'm so happy to have you here, Jared.
Are you ready?
This has been a long time coming. Yeah,
Is it
we're
time now?
rolling right into it. It's time. It is time. It's been what, like a year in the making?
Oh dear.
Mm-hmm. How long have I known you? Probably like a year.
Yeah, about that.
I feel like the way that we should go about this is we should tell the people your lore, and we'll go into our joint lore.
Well, I could tell my side of how I met you.
Yeah, let's do it. But first, tell the people who you are, for those that might not know. I know it's not many people, but
Hi, I'm Jared Taylor. Go by JT for some, or just Taylor for those that knew me when I was in the military.
What do you do? What's your story? He is the founder, correct? Of Black Rifle Coffee. He was in the military. He did like some crazy shit, made a lot of stuff explode in the Middle East, for sure.
Yeah,
I know that definitively. You've done a lot, honestly.
It's kind of like phases.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of big things that have happened over the years that like you're so busy and doing 5 things at once that it's just now in the last year that a lot has caught up to me where other people are like, oh my God, you did what? And I was like, yeah. And they're like, how? I was like, oh, I forgot about that. Yeah. Like, so yeah, you know, I started out as a skateboarder in the Pacific Northwest. Skaters become resourceful because you're just kind of like a scavenger of your sport.
Yeah, I was one. That's how I got run over by a truck.
That was a milk truck, was it not?
No.
Oh.
It flooded in Corpus. There's not a lot to do there either, at all. And so we tied it wasn't like a skateboard, it was like a little skimboard or something to the mirror of my friend's truck. And we were skimboarding on the water of the flood. Disgusting, very murky. But I was like, well, I'm going to be fucking cool. I'm going to do it. So I fall and then end up under the car, get run over. It was a whole debacle. Yeah. Anyways.
You're being pulled though.
Well, yeah.
How did you end up under the car?
Because like I went under the water. I don't know. Like the back tire. I'm not sure.
Oh, dear.
I don't know how it happened. Yeah. All I know is it did. Anyways, go ahead. They know what I look like. You know?
Oh, they do? They all do.
By now, I would say so, yeah.
They all do. They've been deep faking
one.
you for nudes.
Please.
I found the site.
Wait, really?
Yeah. It's a Reddit thread, a whole thing.
Dude, I did this dating, the thing with Raza, whatever. And one of my responses was that an ex made like a deep fake of me for like hentai and it went viral. Yeah.
Is that true?
No.
Well,
but it sounds like you're
right.
It
does.
I know. That's why I got second place. I almost won. But the guy's like, you're actually crazy. I'm like, yeah, I might be. The other girl's like, we'll go on a picnic. We'll like go to the mall. And I'm like, we're going to do hard drugs at like a Chili's, like a rainforest
with
cafe.
A Ouija board.
Yeah. Oh, damn.
Yeah.
I'll say that next time.
It was probably like 2018 or 2019.
Yeah.
And I was taking my 2 little girls to Applebee's and they didn't know what an Applebee's was. And they kept asking me, well, what's Applebee's? I'm like, well, it's generally a place where the police show up. and they kind of were like, whoa, what? Really? Yeah. And so like right before we get there, I'm in one of my rally cars and we do, 3 or 4 nice all-wheel drive donuts in a empty Mattress Firm parking lot.
Mattress Firm.
And then park at Applebee's and we go in. Well, about 5 minutes go by and 3 squad cars come pulling into the parking lot.
What happened? Do you know?
They came in and they were looking for whoever owned the Drinking Bros car that was doing
shit.
donuts.
I thought they were gonna like arrest someone else or something. No. Like the chef was like a crime ring.
So the police show up.
Damn.
For me. With my 2 daughters at their first time at Applebee's. So it lives up to the allure though.
Honestly, you had to. It would be disappointing if it didn't,
So
I'm more of a Chili's girl myself, but yeah.
Chili's doesn't have as many police visits.
I mean, really? Do you think? Not as many as Waffle House. Nowhere has like as many as them.
Waffle House doesn't have that many police visits.
Why would
Because
you
Waffle
mean?
House handles their business.
Oh God!
Have you not
just
seen
street justice? Just
Like,
brawls.
Yeah, have you not seen the Waffle House employees smacking people down?
I have seen the videos. I saw someone throw like was it a spatula through the chef thing because someone was like complaining about the food. In Corpus, though, they'd fight everywhere. Like Chuck E. Cheese would have like brawls between like uncles at differing like birthday parties. Like there was a lot of that.
When one uncle touches somebody else's.
I mean, listen, I don't even know.
The owning uncle has
He's
to
like,
intervene.
whoa, relax.
That is my territory.
Please. Pretty much, yeah. So
yeah, the Pacific Northwest, where it rains.
The PNW.
Mm-hmm. And we attempted to become professional skateboarders or just be like Bam Margera, you know? Just you're doing jackassery things, pushing each other in carts into things. We would water balloon cars. There was a great spot where it was like elevated with a cliff face. And the road was pretty far down with a stop sign. And so we had one of those like 3-person launchers and we had it sighted in perfectly. Sure as hell, like right after we got like it dialed in, like we had like 10 shots where no cars were coming and we were hitting the same spot every time, right in the dead center of where the stop sign was. Yeah. A convertible Miata pulls up.
Oh, not the convertible too.
You hit that convertible right in the dash.
Damn.
With the balloon, so it just blew up, all over this guy.
The way I'm going to cardiac arrest, my heart is already so weak from years of like stimulants. That would be it for me. Like,
and
that would
we
be
like
my last reason.
Stood there pointing and laughing.
No,
and he could see us. Like we didn't even want to hide because it was such a good shot.
Imagine he had like the worst day at work. His wife like cheated. He's like, at least I get to like go get like Arby's or something.
He's got his driving gloves on. Yeah. He's like, I'm gonna take the Miata out today.
That's it. We're taking out the nice car. Like,
boom. And then he couldn't figure out how to get to us because again, like there's like a 80-foot cliff face, like or just vertical. Like,
what if he started scaling it? Like, what would you do? Like, he just like was possessed, and all of a sudden he's just scaling this wall. Like, that would be crazy.
He was balding, so no balding man is scaling anything.
But you know how like a mom, when their kid's in trouble, they get like crazy strength and can lift a bus. Maybe he just starts like scaling this fucking wall.
He's running like a gorilla. Yeah.
So, at what point did you go to the military from these antics? Like, when were you like, you know what? Let me just go serve my country.
Well, I had dropped out. Like I left regular school halfway through my junior year, and just started homeschool. Like because when I had like looked at what the requirements for high school was in my junior year, and I was like, wait, like I only need 2 credits.
Yeah.
So I'm supposed to go through a whole junior year and a whole senior year to get these 2. I needed 1/2 a credit of like PE. So I took the English and history homeschool and I took volleyball at the community college, which was just me and a bunch of girls.
I love that.
Which was awesome. There was a girl I fell in love with there named Allie, but she'd never talk to me.
Sounds like something that would happen.
Allie's out there in the world.
Allie, wherever you are, if you're watching this podcast, hit him up.
If you took volleyball at the Olympic College, roughly around the year 2000.
It's pretty specific. She might be, you never know. Why didn't you?
She writes in.
I've
been thinking about you forever.
Ever since. I saw you spike that volleyball at the community college. Why did you not like school? Like, why did you want to leave faster than your peers?
Well, it was a combination of a breakup with my longtime like high school girlfriend, and there was some altercations with the guys that
I think you told me this.
A gang of people chased me in a truck and ran into my truck, and like, arguments ensued, strong words were out there. So it was just kind of like, why do I go here? But also too, like, again, like for me, it was the assessment of like, I'm supposed to show up here for another 1.5 years for something that I don't need. Like, this makes no sense to me.
Yeah, like, what's the point?
And at the same time, my dad was up on orders to go to Italy, and like the rules as a military dependent over 18 in Italy was like, you can't work in the Italian in Italy. Like, so you can't have a job there because you're the foreigner essentially. Damn. And then And so it was pretty much like, hindsight now, it's like, wait, I could have gone to Italy and just done online school.
Yeah,
like
nothing.
this would have been amazing. Are you kidding? I would have been in Rome and,
met like some Italian girl who's like making pasta
running
and shit.
around.
Yeah.
Like
It's like Lizzie McGuire movie, but like you're on the back of some guy's Vespa, just like thriving, living it up. That sounds sick. Honestly, become like a pop star.
An Italian pop star.
Imagine
like singing in another language.
Dude, that would be crazy. Imagine like your alter ego. Anyways.
So yeah, it was like, I got to get out of here. So went into the Air Force.
And from there, you were in the military how long?
15 years.
Did a lot of shit.
So got stationed at Fort Bragg right out the gate in support of the 82nd Airborne. So went to Army Jump School, went to SEER School, and showed up at Fort Bragg. And right after pretty much the OIF 1 rotation was getting back. So it was the end of 03. So all the guys from that unit were coming back from the first push of the Iraq War. And then we trained up, geared up, and got ready. And I went back to Iraq, or went to Iraq for my first time in 2005. Went to Mosul and then came home, trained up, got certified as a JTAC, went back to Baghdad for 10 months and then came back, was gearing up to go on a third trip, and ran into medical issues with my lungs. So my lungs were like all messed up coming home. Like it was like I had a permanent like lung infection.
Do you know why?
From the fumes and everything that was over there, the
Probably
dust.
wasn't healthy,
Yeah. And we were in this building. It was like a mall that had been set fire. And so like when we had moved in, like you're like shoveling 4.5 inches of bird shit, like to get to the cement, to clean an area out for you to lay your bed down. And like I remember the first like 4 days in there, like we were sleeping with our gas mask on. Every 90 minutes to 2.5 hours, they would hit us with mortars. And so it would explode on the roof and it would shake the whole building, and soot and all this shit would just be like, so I just stayed sick for like 2 years.
Did you ever regret going? Like when you were there and when all that was happening, were you ever like, damn, like I should not have done this. I should have gone to Italy.
No. I loved it because at the end of the day, like no matter how you shake it, like since the beginning of humanity, like we have been at war every like 10 to 20 years, no matter what civilization you're in or what time period you're in, war is kind of a part of life. So for me, I was super, super happy that I was being a part of this and experiencing it at the front piece of it, like as close as much as you can get into it as you can.
Yeah, that's a patriot, ladies and gentlemen. Hell yeah, brother. Hell yeah, brother. He's a red-blooded American if I ever heard one.
I mean, yeah, the politics behind us being in Iraq, like there definitely is no reason for us to have been there. Yeah. And I do feel bad now thinking back to, God, we really fucked those neighborhoods up, and not for any real reason.
Dude, and that's one of the reasons like it's so cool to know you, is because you know the actual story behind a lot of these things. Like I have my conspiracies, but I'm like, okay, Jared, like tell me about the JFK tapes. Like just tell me like what happened. And it's so cool to have an inside person who can actually fill me in and tell me the little.
And it was, but back then, like you didn't think like that. Like back then, like I mean, even like you were just kind of brainwashed to go with the flow, and like kind of like hate anybody that spoke out against it. It's like I remember like when Fahrenheit 9/11 came out, like there was emails out to everybody active duty, like, hey, ignore this film, like everything like that, like or don't engage with any of this. And like you actually like I remember having this dire hatred for Michael Moore. Damn. And then back in the 2016 election, I watched a speech that Michael Moore was giving in Michigan, and he was essentially telling everybody in this speech, no, and this is a die-hard blue Democrat left weirdo. Yeah. And he's telling them that Donald Trump's going to win in 2016, and he's going, here's why. He's the only one that has bothered to speak to the American worker and actually like going to Detroit and telling the Motor City of America that he is going to take manufacturing away from Taiwan and Mexico and he's going to move it back to Detroit. And he goes, and if you're not, if you don't have a counterpoint to that as as Hillary Clinton, and you're not even thinking about that, well then why would anybody in Detroit, like everybody that's in Detroit that even remembers Detroit when it was thriving in the 70s, 80s, you know, like it was Motor City, they're going, wait, this guy actually is for real. Like you're going to lose that all day long. So like I heard this speech and was like, okay, holy shit, Michael Moore is really smart in this case. Like, let me go back and look at, like, let me go back and watch Fahrenheit 9/11. Let me go back and look at this stuff. And yeah, obviously he's a creative filmmaker that is going to skew things in his pattern and things like that. But like one thing that he did in Fahrenheit 9/11 that I like now, being out and being a veteran of that era, is he was walking up to congressmen and senators that voted for the invasion of Iraq and asking if they would sign their sons and daughters up for the military.
Damn, that's
I was
crazy.
like, he would have a camera and he'd go, he was like, hey, you voted for the invasion of Iraq? And then the congressman would be like, yeah. He had a Marine recruiter with him. You have a son that's 22 years old, like, and you have a daughter that's 19. Do you think we could enlist them so we could get them over to Iraq?
Wow.
And like, you watch these congressmen sit there and go,
yeah, like, what do you even say? That's intense. Holy shit. I guess like the tail end of it, you ended up like training people in the military to do certain things. You ended up being locked in boxes and whatnot.
That was back in the beginning.
Yeah.
Like,
that was the beginning?
Yeah, in SEER school. Like that's what you go. You go through a course that teaches you how to survive if you're on your own in different like desert.
I thought you had to work your way up to that. I didn't. No. Holy shit.
That's in the beginning.
That's
and then,
bananas.
And then you go through the prison camp, like different phases of the prison camp, if you will, where it's like isolation. So like at first you're isolated for like 26 hours just by yourself. Then it's, you know, the weird, uncomfortable box. It's interrogations, you know, they're interrogating you, intimidating you, slamming you around, smacking other people, hitting other people. Like
I enlist on purpose. Like,
can I do that one again?
Yeah, I'll retire in the military, honestly, at 65.
When I had my lung issues, it took a while to resolve them, and I was worried that I was going to get targeted and pushed out because of this. So I, you know, started making phone calls. Where can I go? Because I'm in a high ops tempo unit that's deploying. Like we have a team out every day of the year. Like there's a team in Afghanistan and a team in Iraq, and there's two teams waiting to replace them back home, and we flip flop like over and over and over again. So I ended up getting the instructor gig in Herbert Field, Florida, to teach baby TACPs to come in. And that was fun. I still I think I was a little too young for it and immature. Like they shouldn't have given me that power. I was way too mean.
Really? Damn. Like what were you doing? Was it like hazing vibes?
Oh, of course. Like, I mean, this is in the early, and also too, like I was part of this regime change where like when I got there, this was the first time all the guys that had been part of the first pushes of the war, everybody had been to combat. So like when I went through as a student, none of my instructors had ever been to war. They never did the job for real. Right. Because there wasn't anything that had happened in the 90s, like other than the small, you know, you had Panama and the Mogadishu, like, and then Desert One, you know, but still that was short. There was very few people that actually got to experience that. So when I got there, this was now all of my peer group that had all been part of the first 4 years of the war, or 5 years of the war. And now here we are with all of that experience saying, hey, you need to prepare your replacements now. You guys, so we were hard. We were hard as hell on them.
I guess like, you have to be, because like so is life.
And well, how do you prepare somebody to be?
That's crazy. I guess like, yeah, the best you can.
In this unspeakable environment that is incredibly uncomfortable. You have no resources. You sometimes have to go without food, and you don't get penning. You don't get a shower. You don't get.
That's crazy.
And then top all that, you're carrying 135 pounds of shit on your back, and just hot as hell all damn day. Like,
that sounds terrible.
So it was fun. I get to El Paso after being an instructor, and at that time, like I had gotten divorced and I couldn't afford the house, you know, because child support and alimony, like, and everything that comes with that, and then you're supposed to just maintain a life, like, and then, but then also give you know, all this money. You're not making money. Like, I think at that time, like I'm an E5 with 6 years in, I'm maybe making $1,200 every 2 weeks.
Yeah. Like, is this when you were in the house with like no electricity and stuff? And, like,
No hot water.
Yeah.
So my hot water heater went out.
Yeah. I won't go into like too much detail, but I do remember you telling me like,
funny.
You say she like stole it or something?
Yeah, it just smashed the. Oh no! When she had moved out, she pulled off all the shower heads. So
I just really want to emphasize, because when you told me this story, I was like about to like cry. I was like, holy shit, this man's like been through so much. I want to really emphasize the extent to which you were in the trenches, like, no pun intended. Like, you left the war and we're just like going through it.
When you're on one of these teams, like, you're never home. You got to go on a training trip. You come back for a few days. You got to go on an exercise. You come back for a little bit. You got to, and then it's a deployment. You're gone for half a year. Like, I don't blame any women. Like, why the hell would you want to be married to that? Like, why would you even get married? Why would you get in like, hey, let's get in a relationship, but you're going to leave for a year?
I mean, I guess people date people in prison. You said you were going to have a prison girlfriend. You know?
I'm working on it.
Exactly. So, I mean, it's kind of the same thing, but not really, you know, if you really think about it. So I think like it just takes a special kind of person.
Yeah.
I've unfortunately dated men in jail, but not for a year. You know? Moving on.
But you know.
But honestly, I stuck by them. I really did. But, well, kind of. But anyways.
How'd that work out?
So what happened? So in the story, what happened next?
Have no hot water for about 7.5 months.
Crazy.
I just got used to it.
Yeah.
Like, okay, you know, Jocko, take a cold shower, or whoever says
it's
that.
like David Goggins. You know what I mean? Like, your legs stay hard. You're
like,
just showering in the...
But it was depressing, because it was like when you've had a day.
Yeah.
And like all you want to do is take a shower. I'm like, oh, this is going to be so miserable, like, and so sad.
And like everything's gone. It's like giving Rascal Flatts, like the rain on the roof of this empty house vibes. Like, it's really not good.
One of the pieces throughout all of my military side of things is when I was a skateboarder, I learned how to use a camera. And I learned how to edit. And over the years, editing got easier and easier and easier, because technology and computers got better and better, and everything got more user friendly. But I was, you know, head in the books when there was no Google, you know, how do you fix this problem? Like I had like 100 books on Premiere and Final Cut and After Effects and Photoshop. Like I must have like 30 Photoshop books alone, like, because I went hard at Photoshop for a long time.
Me on Instagram, just like,
I had cameras, I had I had a good Mac editing rig, and to supplement money to try and not lose my house, I just loaded all the gear in my Xterra and started driving around, and would walk into businesses and be like, do you need a commercial?
Aw,
Like,
wow. I didn't even know that.
They'd be like, well, I didn't think about that. I'm like, I could make one really like super easy. Like, yeah, well, how much does that cost? I'm like, oh, $100.
Yeah.
And like, I would do a $50 job here. Like, I saw a guy down at, you know, because I lived on the beach in Navarre, and I saw a guy one day, brand new, showed up in one of those like kind of like flying boats, like he can take people for rides on it. I was like, you probably need a commercial for these. He's like, actually, yes, I do. Like, there's another $300.
Wow.
And I got to go up for a flight and just film the whole thing.
That's
like,
fucking cool.
you know, met this band, Drayton Sawyer, that was this great metal band out of Pensacola, and offered to do a music video for them. And me and this guy, Gary Stevens, filmed a music video for them. And that was in 2009. And here we are in 2024. And that band's called This Saturday now. And I sing for them.
Black Rifle. Let's talk about that and how that got started, because that's a pretty integral piece.
Once we got to El Paso, you know, I had a really good side business going to do media, whether that's photo, still, video, graphics, whatever, me and Gary. That's when I met Matt Best. And, you know, he was a perfect, like, front man when it came to, like, I was the camera guy. And now I had this character that was everything that I was looking for, that new military comedy that had a great military background and, was a great writer and a great creative. So him and I got together, we created Article 15 Clothing, which was our first big brand that we truly cut our teeth on when it came to merchandising and branding and marketing and things like that. And over the course of running Article 15, we met Evan Hafer. Evan Hafer came into our circle and we started doing things together, and Evan started sharing his passion for coffee and eventually pitched us on putting coffee, running a Article 15 coffee for Black Friday. And we did this cool commercial about Operator versus the Grinch is what it's called on YouTube. And that was the launch of the first bag of coffee. And then after we sold all that and all the customer reviews came in, and they would email and I would forward those to Evan about, wow, I bought this because I thought it was a cool looking bag that I could have at work or whatnot. But it was actually really, really good coffee. And Evan just called shortly after that. He goes, dude, what if we just started a coffee company? And I was like, I mean, I'm in. Anybody that calls me with an idea, I'm like, yeah.
Quite literally me. You know what happened the other day? Should we tell the people your idea really quickly and pause to tell them our sweet idea? This man calls me. I'll give you a brief overview.
Yeah, you tell it from your perspective.
So I land from the airport. He's like, Rebecca, I have to tell you an idea. It just came to me. I'm like, okay, can you text it? He's like, no, you have to hear me say it. So he texted a little bit of it. And mind you, we'll get to our origin story, but since I met you, I've grown to just anticipate weird shit's gonna happen, things that might not seem normal. Just are to you. So he says that I'm going to get a 1940s German uniform and I'm going to be a female Hitler, but not just that. I'm going to be the little angel on his shoulder, giving him advice, his invisible imaginary friend, if you will, just guiding him through life. Who's also just really upset.
You're real sized.
Yeah,
you're not on
exactly.
the shoulder, yeah.
No, yeah. So just a normal,
you're always walking around practicing your march and stuff. And
yeah,
you're always kind of in your own world. I mean, it's a movie, Jojo Rabbit, which is really funny, but I wanted to reverse it, where it's an adult with an imaginary female Hitler.
Yeah, and I said, of course.
Adolpha.
Sure, why not? Yeah, exactly. I say yes to everything too, and that's the thing. And that's how we also really ended up meeting. But I guess we'll get to that as well. So to finish off with Black Rifle, though, it's obviously fucking huge now. I was in a podunk town, middle of nowhere the other day, and I see it, and I'm like, oh my God, I sent you a pic. I was like, this is so cool. But yeah, you guys have had a lot of success with that and had a lot of opportunity from it, I guess, and now have ventured off into other businesses as well.
Jumped into podcasts really early on, 10 years ago. I'm probably coming up to my podcast retirement soon.
I mean,
10 years was enough.
Yeah, guys, I tell him all the time not to. Honestly, his podcast is so fucking funny.
Our new show is now Time for Pie, which we've been a year and a half into on that one. But Drinking Bros was the original we started, which, Drinking Bros has their studio out in Dripping Springs, and started that in my garage in 2015. Well, actually, the first episode was filmed in my kitchen. It wasn't even filmed. It was just recorded. And then we moved to my garage and essentially built 5, 6 separate studios from there on. Over the years, it'd get bigger and bigger and bigger. Yeah. And now, Ross and Dan lead the helm of the Drinking Bros dynasty, and it sits in the top 50 every week. I mean, it's just, it's also, it's the longevity. It's the audience has just been there forever, and it's a great audience. We have cultivated the coolest group of people, because everybody that comes up to me, it's oh, I'm a drinking bro. Everybody cool.
Yeah.
They're oh, I was an ex-cop or ex-Marine or this or that or whatever. So it's been pretty cool. And then dabbled, did our movie in 2015, which was, that was for us to kind of prove that we weren't just YouTubers.
Who was in that movie? I'm trying to remember.
Couture.
That's who I was
Danny
thinking.
Trejo.
Yeah. I was he showed me the movie, and everyone that popped up, I was like, what the fuck? I'm not surprised anymore now, knowing more of what I know. But I was like, is that Danny Trejo just in this movie randomly? It's a good movie too.
It was our first one.
It's the humor that matches up with the podcast. It's a brand,
Here we are now. I've got Time for Pie. I work, marketing consulting for Black Rifle still, content plans, and what big moves and pieces we're going to make to disrupt the coffee coffee world, but I mean, I'll give it to Evan. Like, Evan created a movement, like, and made, you know, Black Rifle is the first thing that made coffee cool. People don't wear a coffee t-shirt.
That is actually so true. And I feel like it's an industry that's like hard to disrupt and break into because a lot of people monopolized it. I mean, you have Starbucks, who else, like Dunkin',
Maxwell
maybe.
House.
I mean, who drinks Maxwell House if they're not
but
95?
still
Do you know what I mean?
When you start breaking down the demographics of the United States, like take every woman from the age 85 down to like, let's say 40 right now.
Yeah.
Like they have some connection to Maxwell
They're
House
like Folgers
because it's been, it's Folgers, it's Maxwell.
The
You're a grocery, you know, you go to the grocery store.
Can we get into how we met?
Oh yeah. Well, so that was, I was laying in bed.
Paint a picture for me because I don't know that I know the whole story.
Yeah.
On your side.
I was laying in bed and someone had just left that I wasn't very fond of. So that
typical Jared Taylor. He's like, yeah, one girl left. So next thing I knew, I hopped on Instagram and I was like, let me find the next one.
That was kind of a bad date or something like that. I was like not into at all.
Sounds about right.
I mean, because now that I'm thinking about it, I messaged you at like 11:30.
Dude, and I was up. It was late as shit, and I was up. No, I had DM'd you. Well, I'll tell you from my side in a sec. You go first.
I asked Laser first.
Yeah, and then he didn't do it. The very, very beginning is you're laying in bed.
Yeah.
You message me. Prior to that,
I'm laying on top of the bed, like
kicking your feet and shit.
Yeah. I had seen Laser in a photo with you that day. I text Laser that post and said, who and what is that?
Yeah, he tells me, he's like, oh yeah, the founder of Black Rifle Coffee's in love with you. And I'm like, okay. He's like, yeah, he wants to come on your podcast. I'm like, oh, fuck yeah. Mind you, a year later, here we are. It didn't happen. But I think it's best now because we have more lore. But yeah, he never told him. But I see this big podcast page follow me, which was
because I was banned from Instagram. That I was using time for
exactly.
pies.
So me being like a fresh baby podcaster, which I still am, I'm like, oh my god, this big podcast followed me. That's fucking dope. Let me message them and like thank them and just like make a connection. Little did I know on the other end is this man kicking his little feet in bed who just had a bad day.
Bad day.
No clue. Like didn't make the connection that was his podcast. Knew fucking nothing. So enter your part of this world.
Well, I mean, like right away, like you said some funny shit.
Maybe I'll throw it up on the screen, guys, but we'll see.
But like it was instantly that you said some fucking goofy shit, and then we ended up on the phone.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Almost like 20 minutes after.
Okay, so the first thing that you sent me, I didn't know who you were. I knew nothing about you. I didn't even know which one you were, like, in the photos, like, on Time for Pie. I didn't know if you were Caleb, who the fuck. But you were funny as well. So I was like, you know what? Look it. The first video you sent me was you and the mustard. skit. And he says, completely nonchalant, and I'll, like, probably put a clip of the video because you guys really need to understand exactly what he sent me. But he's like, hey, let me know what you think about this.
I was like, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, and what are your thoughts? In this video.
What are you doing?
How do you describe? I don't know.
Covered in mustard.
With a full beard, just covered in mustard.
And hair, like down to here, like mustard from here to here. And my buddy Edgar Cops goes, what are you doing? And I just go, eating a banana.
Just glazed over eyes. And so
because what you don't know is mustard burns your skin. I'm like burning. I didn't know that.
Oh, what?
Because I've never had mustard on my skin. So like, yeah, my eyes are like burning. He's like, what are you doing? I'm like, eating a banana.
So I watched this video and he's like, let me know your thoughts when you're done. I said, okay. I'm in my room with my dog. I'm like, okay, this is intriguing, very interesting. Who the fuck is this man? Like, who am I talking to? And I literally said, I'm like, that's hilarious, but who the fuck are you? Who am I talking to? So then you send me a YouTube video that says, who is Jared Taylor?
It's who we are.
There you go. Who just has a video at the ready.
It's a 7.5 minute documentary.
He says, this should answer that. I'm like, what? And this is like a riddle.
This is just me being lazy too, by the way.
This is like a scavenger hunt. I'm like, what's going on? So I go from the mustard video, then to this video. It's like, yeah, you know, I'm a hardened war veteran. I founded Black Rifle Coffee, this, that, you and jets and shit, jumping out of planes. So then I respond, and I quite literally probably say that. I'm like, what the fuck? Okay. So then we start talking. You're like, what's your type of guy? And I'm like, oh, you know, back in the day, I was super into like Bam Margera. And you're like, oh, that's so funny. He's at my house. And thus starts a whole relationship of just me being like, what the fuck is going on? Because I knew nothing, not a thing. And mind you, like, some of the other girls, we won't get into detail, that you have dated, like, you know, they know like what you do. Not a fucking inkling of a clue. Not a clue. All I knew was a mustard video and that. Like, so what happened from there? I'm trying to remember.
You guys came over the next day.
Oh,
which again was like, to me, I was impressed because like you were, I'm impressed by people that like follow through with what they say.
Yeah.
Like, it's as sad as that is impressive now. You stick to, I'm going to do this, and you do that. Like, I'm like, okay, like
the bar is low, guys, but
impressive.
But it's real, yeah.
And yeah, so you came out with 2 friends.
Had to have the backup. I didn't know, because he's like, I live in the middle, like the middle of nowhere, basically, kind of. It's like huge, like property. And I'm just a girl, you know, like I had never met this man. I knew him from a mustard video and a podcast where they talk about just like all kinds of like
14 hours prior.
So I go, needless to say, I went. Yeah, I drove like an hour and 20 with 2 of my friends and showed up.
I just got on stage and started singing.
I got serenaded.
Yeah.
We
stared right at you the entire time.
No blinking. No, not a single blink. Yeah, me neither.
And then I was like playing Matchbox 20 and stuff like that. And I'd go, I wrote this song in 1997 about you.
Let's see how far. I went on like a, what was it? Like a cart of some sort, like not
golf
a go-kart, but no, but like the fast one.
Oh, the
Remember?
Razor.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And my friends were like, are you sure you want it? Like, you just met him. I'm like, I'm fine, whatever. So I get in there. He's like doing like little donuts and shit. It was a time. And in that moment, Jared realized he loved me.
In the Razor.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. And then we went to Vegas. So.
Well, no, you're.
What am I missing? I
You're
feel like
missing a little bit.
I've been concussed. I fell under an F-150 in Corpus during a storm. So exactly. But yeah.
No. Okay, so you guys leave kind of late that night, like midnight, like 12:30 almost. You're texting me the whole way home. There's a difference. If someone's like, okay, goodbye, and you don't hear shit.
Like never to be.
But that was it. Like, you guys weren't out of the driveway before you were like, I wish I could stay.
I did. I felt bad because like my friends were like, Rebecca, we have to go. We can't like sit at this bar and listen to like Rob Thomas all night. And I'm like, bro, like, fuck, I guess. So yeah, we left.
But then you told me to come over the next day.
Oh, it was the Houston thing, huh?
Well, at first I was just supposed to come over at 1.
We were, and mind you guys, not to do what you're thinking, I am a lady, but we were just gonna hang out because I thought he was really cool. And then I was like, wait, fuck, I have a hair appointment, but my hair girl's in Houston. I text him like, hey, do you want to go to Houston with me? And he's like, yeah, sure, why not? Just sit in the passenger seat and look beautiful and we'll go. And I was like, that was fucking sweet. I was like, damn. So at this point, I'm texting my friends. I'm like, yo, I don't know who the fuck this guy is, but he's so nice. He drives me to Houston.
You get your hair done.
And then
we go to Latrell's house.
He's like, hey, while we're in Houston, you want to visit my friend Marcus? I'm like, sure. Who's that? And you're like, Marcus Luttrell. Have you seen Lone Survivor, the movie? And I'm like, yeah, it's him. It's who the movie's based on. I'm like, okay, yes, go to Marcus Luttrell's house. Sure, why not? Okay, why? Yeah.
We're in the middle of the woods.
Yeah, I'm like, let's go.
Magnolia.
You just pure trust.
It's a nice place, though.
They were great. They were so sweet. Yeah, it was amazing. Very rich bathrooms. Like the shower, water pressure, 10 out of 10. The towels were so soft, you just know they're expensive. You know?
That whole place was built perfectly.
The bed, I sunk like 30 feet into it.
That
I was
bed
like,
is out of
I'm
control.
like, this is success right here. This is the lap of luxury.
We went to breakfast or at the country club. That was fun.
That was dope, yeah.
Drove back home, and that's where it took a turn.
It all fucking,
So we got the dog and went back to my house, and about 6 o'clock that night is when we went off the cliff, and you and I got massively sick.
Dude, So I start to have symptoms of the fucking bubonic plague.
Like full flu.
I
Like,
turned to him and have you ever seen that meme where it's like the kid in the doorway in the middle of the night? He's like, Mom, I threw up. Like that was literally me.
it's all over.
He's like, I threw up. I turned to Jared. I'm like, I don't feel good. I'm
She
like,
found the piss drawer.
I'm like, hey, like pulling his little shirt. I'm like, hey, I think I'm sick. You're like, no, I think you had like a few beers. You're probably just, I'm like, no. So next thing I know, I'm in the bathroom on the floor.
For hours.
Posted.
Like 8 hours.
I set up camp in the fucking bathroom. Like I'm just shaking in fetal
Towels,
position.
Yeah.
I was not well.
I swear to God, Becca, if you get my friend sick and he dies, I will rain on a holy hellfire upon your soul. Feel better, Jared.
Lots of, but then like it hit me like 7 hours later. So like you're dead in the bathroom. I'm trying to help you because I feel like you're crippled.
I
But
was.
you've known me for 3 days at this point, and you're like, you are not seeing me throw up.
Oh yeah, he kept trying to come in the bathroom. He's like, "Are you good in there?" I'm like, "Shut the fucking door!"
Yeah.
Like, I was like, "Can't see me like this." I'm just pale, just throw up all over me, just like on the walls. Probably like I was not good.
We never got a picture.
No, which would have been iconic. He had a great idea, honestly, in that moment.
You just
I would
sleeping
like
in the bathroom.
what is it, like a photo on the wall of me?
We're
like-
gonna hang it in the bathroom
Yeah.
of you sleeping by the toilet.
but then you're like, then we'll just do a photo and a photo and a photo.
Yeah, of you laying again while the photo's on the wall.
But come to find out, I was super sick. He took me to the, urgent care.
Oh, that's a third day. So you were down for 2 full days.
I couldn't go home. Yeah.
Like couldn't move, couldn't do any. I was like buying anything that I can get. Then we finally went in to the hospital and they like gave you what you needed.
Yeah,
because
like a giant
it was
shot,
about
like
10 hours after you left there, like you like had a soul again.
Yeah, I had none to be spoken of, though. It was really rough. So those are our first like initial 3 encounters, mind you.
But they're all connected too. There's no space between it.
No.
It started with you showing up at the bar and went into this like lemony snicket series of unfortunate events.
When Count Olaf was my roommate. So then we're like, you know what'll fix all this? A trip to Vegas.
Yeah, let's just go. Or I just sent you away with my Tahoe for about a week.
Oh yeah, I took his car. I took his vehicle because he's like, oh well, just take this. And I was like, all right. So I'm driving this giant camouflage covered Tahoe Black Rifle vehicle just through the streets of Austin. I go home and I think like when we first talked on the phone, you had already bought my ticket to Vegas. I think you bought that like sight unseen.
Oh yeah, because we were like calling each other's bluff.
Yeah, that's true. And vibes were high because you were like, you won't.
Well,
I'm like,
you
no,
can
I
go to
will.
Vegas. You were like, I'll go.
And I think we're both that kind of person where if someone's like, no, you won't, we're like, yeah, the fuck I will. I'm going to fucking do it.
I know. So many people are like, you always make such bad decisions. I go, no, I don't. I make decisions.
Yeah.
Sometimes they turn out not to be what I wanted them to be, but that's not me making a bad decision.
Life is short. We live in a simulation. Nothing's real, you know? It's fine. Am I missing anything before Vegas?
Left with the vehicles, with the vehicle, and then came back when we went to the airport.
Before Vegas, though, is that when you did the little like notebook thing?
Yeah.
Right. That was cute as shit, guys. Ladies, listen up. He probably won't do this for you, but like he did it for me. So listen to what could happen if you were me. So cute as shit ever. This little notebook, and he put like all these cute little sentiments in it, which you were like, give this to me, like if you're ever questioning or like uncertain.
Yeah, you were supposed to keep it.
Yeah.
That was the whole thing.
But then you took it because
no, you lost it.
No, I didn't lose it. You took. Listen, we'll leave that to speculation. But
and I found it under the bed on your side.
Okay,
So it fell through the crack.
A likely story. We'll get to that point, okay, where things just unraveled even more. But he's like, if you're ever questioning like how I feel, give this to me and I'll write something cute in it and give it back to you. It was very fucking cute.
It was like an ATM.
Yeah, exactly. But for
you know,
serotonin.
I'm old enough to know how girls, kind of work now. They do get snowballed in their own head. And it's like, okay, how do you remedy some of these things? It's like, okay, you maintain this. And if you're ever spinning up here, like you hand it to me and I know what I'm supposed to do.
It's so simple, but it's so nice. To paint a picture, to set the scene before Vegas, guys, I had gotten out of a fucking psychotic relationship not that long
Beyond
before.
psychotic. That is not
beyond.
This is not real.
I don't know like a word to even. And he had gotten out of a relationship that like ended not great, right? We're both kind of in a weird place. And
yeah, very disappointing.
Right.
We both were very, very.
It was a weird place mentally. And I didn't think either of us expected to like randomly meet someone via like an Instagram page and like a mustard video. I didn't know. We did. So then from there, that sets the scene for, also I had an evil roommate. So this sets the scene for foreshadowing, guys, just so you know, she was looming just in the little like wings of my house. And we go, and him out of the kindness of his heart is like, oh, bring her too. She should come. I'll get her own room.
Well, I knew that I was going to be super busy. Like, I didn't want you to have to just wait around all the time because, you know, SHOT Shows are busy week.
Which is very fucking sweet. Another very nice thing. So we were going to Vegas for the SHOT Show, which is, how do you describe that? Like,
it's the industry show for the tactical and firearms, AVNs as well, and the cement show is at the same time. So, like, if you're into construction workers,
just go look Lost at the Cement Show.
Yeah. Oh, I've been really wanting to talk to somebody about sidewalks, and I don't know how to find.
This is the foundation of my home. Fuck. So yeah, me, him, the evil roommate. We should give her a name, huh?
Evil roommate.
Oh. So I pack her up. He packs us up. We go to Vegas. We get there, and things just rapidly decline. They just start to go downhill so fucking fast. I can't even like express.
I think you're still kind of sick too. You weren't feeling well.
Mm-hmm.
We went way too hard getting off the plane.
What did we do?
We met CJ, Lindy, and Brian.
Okay,
so if you're an avid listener of the show here, Mr. Brian Payne.
This is my origin story with Brian. So we are already upstairs. We're like, we should go to bed. Nothing's really going on. And you get a call from CJ.
He's a porn star. Very likable character. Very sweet, very charismatic. So everybody that knows him loves him, and his father is the lead singer of Rammstein.
What?
Yeah.
I didn't even know that.
He is right now.
Wait, that's so fucking cool. Damn.
He's on tour with them right now.
Jared's like, do you want to go back down and meet up with them, or should we just go to bed? Because we were like already going up the little thing. And I was like, you know what? Fuck it. Let's go. Like, let's go downstairs.
But we were kind of fucked up from being sick. Like, remember, like we were like, it was tough.
I was probably still on meds, to be honest. So I'm like, fuck it, let's go. Like in true Rebecca fashion. So we go. What happened from there?
We stayed up till almost 4. Like,
sounds about right.
Stayed down at that table till almost 4, and like finally went to bed, and you were fucked.
Mm-hmm.
Like, because that was the day, like, I had to get an IV.
Oh,
just to like keep you like heart beating.
I was in shambles. I was just trying to like hang with everyone, and I was like, no, I don't want to be like a pussy and fucking stay out. I couldn't. Literally, like, IV drip, just like dead to the world, making jokes about how Jared can't do a kickflip to the IV guy.
Yeah, he knew us by the time he left.
Yeah.
It's pretty much like the rest of that was you needed another day to recover. Your evil roommate was like constantly just being a pain in everybody's ass.
Oh.
We introduced her to a beautiful male porn star.
Mm-hmm. Who actually I saw on a podcast yesterday on Plug Talk.
And he's an amazing guy.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, he was being really nice to her. She was just threading him along, running him for a loop. And then
the whole time we were there, anytime Jared would do like anything nice, anything cute, anything sweet, she would come to me and be like, I don't know. I don't think that's real. I think like he's like, manipulating in this and that, just kind of like planting seeds in my head. And mind you, this is someone I'd known for a decade. So you're probably going to at least take their feelings into account a little bit. That kind of like also made things take a bit of a turn. Gaslighting a porn star as well.
Yeah. So we came home and we didn't talk for like 60, 70 days.
And I had a hunch in my little gut. I was like, things are really not going to pan out here. Like, I think we're both in like a fucked up place. That trip didn't go great, whatever. So then the podcast, I got to talk about that.
Oh, no. I mean, we're forgetting like 2 very funny small parts of you and I like raging at each other in the hotel room where we broke up twice and got back together 2 separate days.
I do remember that now. Yeah, come to think of it, I do recall.
So yes, if you just look at like from the day that I messaged you on Instagram, like all of these days connect. There was no gap from the day that from I message you, you show up at the house the next day, I go to your house, we end up in Houston, you come back to my place, you get sick, you're sick for 5 days, we got to go to the hospital. The second that you're remotely ready, you like go back to your house to pack, and we're on a plane to Vegas, in which like there has been no gap.
None.
And then we end this string of like 14 days coming back to my house in Vegas where we're just like, goodbye.
We just have bruises all over. It's like we're coming back from war, just like bleeding and shit, clothes all torn. We're like, fuck. And I knew in that moment when I was leaving that like it was like a wrap for us. Unfortunately, I don't think this is like the right time, and you know, whatever. I was right. So my friend was like, Rebecca, honestly, fuck that. This is all because of him. And like just got so in my head, and I was already so like discombobulated from everything going on. She's like, we should record a podcast episode. We should just do a roast of Jared Taylor, which don't go look for it because I did take it down. I feel really fucking bad. But bro, honestly, if ever there is like a celebrity who needs someone to be at their roast, like I'm pretty fucking funny. Like if it weren't about you and if it were about someone else, like I'm pretty. It was kind of, was it a little funny? Like a little bit.
No, there was good. Like you had all the. You had the meat of the jokes and, you know, exaggerations of yes, when you isolate a situation, you can make something that was good sound horrible.
I felt really fucking bad. And honestly, my ego was the reason that I didn't want to reach out and apologize. And I knew he had seen it because all his friends started to unfollow me, which as they should, as they fucking should. Like, I don't fault them one bit for that. That was fucked up and a terrible way to handle things. Public statement. So he didn't retaliate or anything, but what did happen is he had wrote me a song when we were together. And it was a great song, and actually it's out now, so stream it. But what'd you do, Jared? What was your retaliation?
Well, my retaliation was
it's so good, but fuck.
I had the new girlfriend sing on the song and was going to make the cover art the picture of her. And then once it was published, I was going to send it to you and say, here's your song.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Honestly, well played, but like,
hey, look, you got to get creative, like in the retaliation, like and this is advice for everybody, like on how my mind works, and even for you in the future now is when someone does something deliberate against you, or like, and you know this, like they've already like mapped out what they think your move is going to be. So they've prepped for it. So they always think if you just take the podcast, for example, okay, we're going to go fucking talk all this shit on the podcast. You're prepped for that, for our episode to come out.
Exactly.
And it to just be another hit. Mm-hmm. Yeah. But if it doesn't,
nothing,
then it's like, okay, what? Well, uh-oh. What's being planned?
But do you know what did happen? The new girl came on his podcast. And then,
we won't even go into that.
Yeah, that's a whole like
that's a weave of drama.
I'm like, okay, so like there's new girl, whatever. Whatever. Do you? That's great. But yeah, little did I know she would be doing part of the song, but she's not on it anymore.
No, so. Well, yeah. So eventually the band as a whole really liked this song. Like, they were like, this is a good quality song. It's not long enough. Mm-hmm. So we need to lengthen it. And she was nowhere around recording equipment at the time. And we kind of needed a little bit more of a Paramore style for that.
When you realized that she sounded like a broken, deflated accordion, you then knew that you had to get someone else with musical talent and prowess.
It was for Eliza. Like it always was when I had envisioned it being a duet, I had Eliza Grace in my head. The voice of like if you just shoved 90 angels into Michelle Branch's throat.
Damn. I always want someone to talk about me like that. That's amazing. She also killed the girl who originally sang the part. I think
she did. Eliza did.
Yeah.
Like in order to, that's how you have to.
It's like a code of honor. You have to kill the original singer in order to take your place. I wish it could have been me, but you can only dream.
Well, you can sing.
I honestly think I can, guys. Like that is something.
Well, I have a challenge for you.
Yeah,
I'll give it to you on the way when we head home. But I have something I think that you should try and learn, and then we recreate the music video.
I'll do it.
You might need a face tattoo for it too.
I kind of want one already. I'm not gonna lie. I've been mulling it over. Just to finish it out, the way we reconnected is I was at a coffee shop with my friend Bailey. I think she brought you up, and I was like, dude, I should just fucking text him. I should just like apologize and text him. And it just made me kind of sad the way things ended, because honestly, I felt like you were such like a good person and did so much for me in that short time. And the way things ended just wasn't right. And I just kind of knew like our saga wasn't over yet. Because a friendship, whatever that might be, it just felt wrong. So I messaged him from Bailey's Instagram. I just thought he wouldn't answer me.
Yeah.
So I was like, let me be creative with this, because he never unfollowed Bailey. So I was like, perfect. Literally like a second later, I was like, hi. And he's like, hey. I was like, it's Rebecca. But yeah. And that brings us to now.
We got on the phone right after that, I believe. Like you were like, I'm just going to call you.
Yeah.
I was like,
I feel
okay.
like that's just easier. I don't even know like really what we talked about, but I think pretty much this, just being like, you know, we were both in weird fucked up headspace.
You were like, I didn't mean any of that. I was like, okay.
Pretty much.
Like, I'll accept that.
Yeah. I mean, listen, which is really cool considering like when you call someone fucking Friar Tuck, bro, that's fucked up. That roast came from the dead. It was an hour and like 20 minutes. It wasn't anything like, oh, that's like why your dad left her. But it was just like, dumb roasts, but it was like not polite though, you know? That does bring us to now. Here on this very podcast.
You're killing it up in Nashville. You're in the right circle in Nashville. That's who I was talking to right before we got on the show was Olivia, because we were planning Danny's birthday in St. Pete.
Oh,
yeah.
Fun.
So,
yeah, she's so sweet. I fucking love her.
She has such a very original personality. I told Danny, I was like, where did you find this? He goes, exactly.
What would you say is the favorite part of your whole journey? Like, best thing that's ever happened to you besides meeting me?
Well, I was gonna go with meeting you first.
That's okay. A close second, though.
No, where we're at with the band.
Oh yeah, let's finish with that. You have your band now.
Yeah, it's called This Saturday, and our next show is on the 28th of September, and it's in Pensacola. That's our hometown for the band. So like, it will sell out. We're confident in that, and I'm excited. Like that's gonna be like our first real like good like we had our show last month that went great, but I mean we've had another month and a half to practice now. Like we're getting better. Like that's gonna be our night, like to really shine and kind of push forward from here. And after that, we're gonna do a San Antonio show. We got a Nashville show in December.
Serious question.
Yeah.
You know how sometimes you send me the songs before they come out and you're like, hey, what do you think of this? How many girls do you send them to? Or is it just me?
Well, most girls don't like you understand post-hardcore. You listen to it.
That is true.
I don't know. I mean, Eliza, maybe.
So I'm unique and not like other
like
girls.
there's maybe Heather. Like, who do I know that's a girl that knows who Bring Me the Horizon is? You
That's valid.
and Heather. So like there's a rhyme to the reason of like, hey, listen to this because we are driving in the post-hardcore world. I send it to people that listen to that music. Because again, if people don't listen to that genre of music, they're not going to give you feedback. Like
you could just lie and say I'm different than other girls, but okay.
I don't want an empty compliment of, wow, this sounds great. You listen to nothing but country, or you listen to nothing but rap.
Honestly, do still listen to like Chiodos in 2024. So that is valid.
Chiodos is doing a new album right now.
What?
Yes, ma'am.
A new album? Who's this? Is it the same singer?
Believe so.
Who do you think the new singer of Linkin Park's going to be?
They're looking for one.
They just, what's his name? Mike Shinoda just said they were getting back together and they're going to start touring again. Yeah.
That'll be interesting.
Is it you? I feel like that's some shit that would happen. You would come out as like the new Chester.
I could sing him.
Yeah?
I'm in his range. Yeah.
That'd be dope. Linkin Park, if you're out there, if you're listening, here's your
Yeah.
guy. Thank you for coming on the podcast. It's been a long time coming. You know, we can do another episode with all your stories because you have some fucking crazy ones that I do want to touch on.
But we're going to get into more between then.
Yeah.
I mean, you and I have an Atlanta trip coming up. So like, we'll just wait until after that. And
Yeah, we're going to Atlanta. We're
With
doing a
some-
podcast with
some
Dream Beard. someone
great
who does, like-
individuals.
a lot's gonna happen. I'd like to go to Magic City, you know, to be continued. The story carries on. And that's
Let's
it.
go.
Like, subscribe. Hell yeah, brother.